Hi there. Welcome to the all-new Pitbull Bible Online APBT database. We've totally upgraded our dog entry system, and please consider this required viewing in order to understand what has changed and why it has changed. We've been up and running since about December of 2011. We've officially had the pedigree aspect of our features implemented since May, which means we've been open for about 3 years as a pedigree database. Since that time, there have been hundreds and hundreds of probably thousands of poorly entered dogs, duplicate entered dogs, etc., etc., partially because of the way we were doing things, which is the way everybody else was doing things, one step at a time with no real way to search and see if there's another dog by that name entered or similar to that name. Consequently, let's click on the Pedigrees tab. Here are the upgrades that we've done, not only to make things easier for you, but to prevent the possibility of duplicate data entry. Okay, when you see all these drop-down menus that we've described before, we're going to talk about the dog database, so we're going to add a dog. Before, when we clicked here, you would get one little field, and that was the dog's name only. Well, here, when you click, you're going to get everything. What I suggest everybody does is go down each one of these things and enter every single thing they possibly can. Why? Because we've set it up so that each of these is stored on separate data tables. Well, what does that mean? It means when you go to the search features, both to search for a dog as well as to analyze dog statistics, everything that you put in here becomes cross-referenceable. And everything that you fail to put in here means that you've essentially wasted your time and entered in a useless dog. So it helps everybody if you put in everything. So let's say we're going to create a dog. He's a black nose. Let's say he's a 50-pounder. Let's say he's a 45-pound dog in condition, the greatest dog ever. And let's say, and here's another thing. You've got to choose the sex. If you try to enter the dog name before entering the sex, guess what? You get an error. Choose the sex first. You've got to choose the sex. So let's say he's a male. Let's call him Carver's Badass. Okay. And we're going to now see what our new features do. Okay, let's say he's off of Carver's Ironhead. Okay. Now I can start typing in Carver, but the trouble is there's a gazillion Carver's dogs. So let's do things correctly and put in Ironhead. Okay, now we're going to see there's Carver's Ironhead right there. And so I don't need to keep trying to type in Ironhead. Where'd he go? Where's Carver's Ironhead? There he is, sorry. A little momentary lapse. And let's say he's off of Black Widow. You want to type in the dog name. Okay, now we start to see all the Black Widows here. Oh, there's Carver's Black Widow. So we've just invented his pedigree. We do the same thing for breeder, and let's put everything in because all these things are searchable. So we'll look for the breeder, Maurice, and we see why people get deleted. Maurice Cavers goes to, somebody entered in Maurice Carver's goes 3 times in several different misspelled ways. We just want Maurice Carver, okay, so that's what we're going to click here. Let's say the owner, is Ed Crenshaw, okay. As we start to type, we get drop-down menus, so you don't have to enter another name. You just see it there, and you pop it in. That is, I think, is going to help everybody not enter in duplicate data. Let's say he's a grand champion. He's a best in show, gamest in show. He's a, 7-time winner. No, we don't want him to lose. And we put in all this name. His call name is Badass. Registration number. Body, put in all of this stuff because again it's cross-referenceable. He's dead now. Okay, so now what happens, we have this dog and we are going to save the dog and we'll be taken to the dog itself. Okay, a couple of things to notice here. You see this little administrator control panel? This is for me to see only. None of you guys can see this, but this helps me decide whether this is a core dog or not, delete the dog if it's a bad dog. created by, I can change that, so I can assign, somebody else entered your dog, I can do that. So you're just kind of seeing what I get to see that you won't be able to. Importantly, I want you to see these things, even though you don't get to view them. These are JavaScript queries that my brother enabled me to do. So if there are any sires all the way down in this dog's family tree that are broken, we can repair them. And we've set everything back to 0 because everything has been repaired. Okay, so this is just a mock dog that had parents in the database. But what about if the dog didn't have parents in the database? Okay, let me delete this dog because we don't need extra dogs here. Okay, now it's completely gone from the database. I want you to pay attention to this whole video, so check this part out, okay? Okay, so now let's check out another scenario. Let's say we're going to put in Shag Scooby-Doo, but the parents are not in there. Okay, you try to enter the parents. Let's say Shag or Scooby's parents. And let's say you don't find them. Scooby's mama. Okay, if you try to save like this, you're going to get an error message. Okay, it's not recognized. So you've got to back out of here. Okay, you've got to back out of here and clear it out, and then enter it. If you enter it now, you're going to come up with a blank pedigree, and that means it's time to start entering the data. So rather than enter it here anymore, we don't let you enter it here. This is blank. You're going to have to enter it here. So when you put the sire, you see you have a new field, and it's a new way of doing things. So once again, let's say it was Grand Champion Yellow. You start doing that, and you're going to see all the yellows, and you're going to be able to scroll through them. Okay. Let's say Tance Yellow. Okay. Same thing with the dam. Oops, I didn't do it right. You're going to have to go find the yellow and then hit enter. So now you add, and now he's sired by yellow. It's going to be the same with the dam. Let's say it's, I don't know, Queen of Hearts. Okay. There's Abraham's Queen of Hearts. Now, as you saw before, I can't just put it there. I've got to actually add the dog. Okay, now we have this dog, Scooby-Doo's off of Yellow to Queen of Hearts. And we do the same for the breeder. Okay, we're going to want to create the breeder. Now, actually, I'm making a mistake here, so I'm learning as I go. In order to add the breeder, I can no longer do it here. I've got to go back to the edit. So now I'm going to put the breeder. I'll put, I don't know, Pat Patrick. Now you can see all of these P. Patrick, Kill Patrick. We don't want any of that. We want to put Pat Patrick. So we're going to want to choose the right one, which would be Pat Patrick. Okay. Same thing with the owner, Shag. So if it's going to be Shag, I don't know what Shag's last name is, so we'll just do that. Now you're going to see this error message come up here. Shag is not a registered owner. Please select an owner from the drop-down that appears. If it doesn't, you're going to do it separately here. So you can't enter Shag because he's not in the database. Once you go here, it's going to take you to the owner, and you can add an owner, save, etc. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to get out of here. And it takes me back here. So now I'm not going to have Shag as an owner. You save, and it's got an owner. Now what's really cool is the breeder page now takes you to the breeder's database when you go in here, and so the whole interrelationship of the breeders, owners, and dogs is becoming more and more meaningful, and we're trying to make it more meaningful like that. So now we have the dog Shag Scooby-Doo, sired by blah blah blah, and I'm going to delete this as obviously it's a fake dog. So now let's take what a real dog looks like in the database. Okay, here's Crenshaw's Jeep. again, this control panel is something that only I, the administrator, will be able to show you, or be able to use rather. Um, these different tags here will actually take you to James Garrett as an owner and show you his dog. This will actually take you to the breeder James Crenshaw and all the dogs that he's bred. This will take you to this dog's pedigree and this dog's pedigree rather than being places where you enter things here. Eventually we're going to have an entire scrollable series of photographs. We're going to have unlimited photographs so that every historical photograph of Jeep can be here, and you can just kind of go along, and whichever one you want to see you'll be able to click and it'll change to the picture. We still retain a media center to put all your pictures in a separate area, but everything else about this will be controlled here under the edit portion. We've moved a lot of the information up over here and centralized it so that this can drop down further. The only thing that we've kept down here information wise is the Wright's inbreeding coefficient, which of course gets deeper and deeper and more meaningful the deeper you go into the pedigree. So it doesn't look like much has changed, but actually the way we do things is a hell of a lot easier and a hell of a lot less chance to mess things up. And when we integrate it with the ability to delete and well, I should say merge. Like, let's say if there are two Jeeps, I'm going to have a merge feature where I can merge one into the other, drop all the offspring into the other, etc. And our delete dog way of doing things is better. Now, this is what Jeep is going to look like to you and everybody else. You won't see the control panel there that I have access to, but it's a little cleaner. We've got it indented. We cleaned it up a bit, but the way things are entered is going to be key. It's going to help prevent people from making mistakes, encourage people to search more so that less and less errors happen. And then our next step is to enhance the way we deal with errors to make things easier. Instead of individually transferring each offspring of Jeep, he's got 171 offspring. Let's say there's two Jeeps. Instead of transferring each one to the right Jeep, we just are going to be able to, merge the two dogs together and dump all the offspring automatically into the correct dog. So anyway, I know this wasn't the best video. I don't have a lot of time to do it, but I hope you take a look at and enjoy the enhanced dog entry system. All right.